أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولا تحسبن الذين قتلوا في سبيل الله أمواتا بل أحياء عند ربهم يرزقون فرحين بما آتاهم الله من فضله ويستبشرون بالذين لم يلحقوا بهم من خلفهم ألا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. أعظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا بالحسين عليه السلام، وجعلنا وإياكم من الطالبين بثاره مع إمام المهدي عليه السلام. As we said, death is a transfer from this world to the next world. And the next world, after going through the world of Sakaratul Maut, we get to Alam Barzakh. We used a simile yesterday which explained how Alam Barzakh is. And we started proving Alam Barzakh with some verses of Quran, and we inshallah continue with proving Alam Barzakh. There are so many verses about Alam Barzakh. Couple of them we said yesterday. First was the ayah that proves the actual existence of Alam, with the word of Barzakh itself. And the second one was the ayah that was about the shaheed of Christianity, shaheed of followers of Isa alayhi salam in Surah Yasin, who is famous as Habib al-Najjar. And the third one was about people who were killed in the path of Allah, that was recited at the start of today's session. People who were killed in the path of Allah for the cause of Allah and became martyred. One may argue that they are the only one who are alive and the rest are dead, because here ayah says, do not consider them as dead, but they are alive. But that's not the whole ayah. You've got to read the whole ayah. The exception here is the fact that they are عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ يُرْزَقُونَ. All people, when they die, they go to barzakh. And their type of life there, it might be different. So this ayah is explaining the quality of their life, which is they get sustenance from Allah, they're happy with what they have, they send good news to people who are like them and they're going to come and join them, and so on and so forth. The next ayah that is about people who are in barzakh and they are getting punished is about the people of Fir'aun. The ayah says, النار يعرضون عليها غدوا وعشيا, which means that the fire is getting to these people who were following Fir'aun day and night. And then it says, وَيَوْمَ تَقُومُ السَّاعَةِ, when people get resurrected, and there's actual big punishment and rewarding then. At the time, it said, فَأُدْخِلُوا أَدْخِلُوا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ أَشَدَّ الْعَذَابِ وَيَوْمَ تَقُومُ السَّاعَةِ أَدْخِلُوا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ أَشَدَّ الْعَذَابِ. When it comes to the resurrection, after resurrection, day of judgment, then Allah Ta'ala will send these people, says to these people, you enter a bigger punishment, a severe punishment, or the most severe type of punishment. The punishment in barzakh, in comparison to qiyamah, is not that much, because barzakh has less severity. Inshallah, we'll talk about people who are in there, that they wish that qiyamah never comes. And people who are good, they would love for qiyamah to come, because their reward is bigger as well. The next ayah is about the people of Nuh alayhi salam. Quran says, after that they were drowned. It says, مِمَّا خَطِئَاتِهِمْ أُغْرِقُوا, they were drowned because of their sins. And then it says, فَأُدْخِلُوا نَارًا, they entered, they were actually taken to a type of hell. Then it says, فَلَمْ يَجِدُوا لَهُمْ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ أَنصَارًا. But the point of the ayah, bringing the ayah, is this, that these people entered a type of hell straight away. This is before the actual qiyamah comes and they go to the an-nar. The next ayah is about the punishment of munafiqeen, the hypocrites. Quran says, وَمِنْ حَوْلَكُمْ مِنَ الْأَعْرَابِ مُنَافِقُونَ وَمِنْ أَهْلِ الْمَدِينَةِ مَرَدُوا عَلَى النِّفَاقِ لَا تَعْلَمُهُمْ نَحْنُ نَعْلَمُهُمْ. It's about the munafiqeen of Medina. So there are some munafiqeen from the Bedouins and also from people who are in Medina, that these people are hypocrites, and there's something in their hearts, but they're not showing it. And Allah Ta'ala says, we know who they are. And then He says, سَنُعَذِّبُهُمْ مَرَّتَيْن ثُمَّ يُرَدُّونَ إِلَىٰ عَذَابٍ عَظِيمٍ. They will have two punishments, and then they will go to the severe and the most grievous type of punishment, which is in Qiyamah. These two punishments, that is before Qiyamah, one is in Dunya and the other one is Barzakh. The next ayah is from Quran about the type of punishment that people may have in the Jahannam of Barzakh. And it says, إِذِ الْأَغْلَالُ فِي أَعْنَاقِهِمْ وَالسَّلَاسِلُ يُسْحَبُونَ فِي الْحَمِيمِ. Hamim is the type of, usually is the name of for what is presented in Jahannam of Barzakh, which is a boiling and smelly type of fluid that they drink. Then He says, ثُمَّ فِي النَّارِ يُسْجَرُونَ. Then they will go, later on, they will go to the fire. The next ayah is from Surah Al-Waqi'ah, and it says, فَنُزُلٌ مِّنْ حَمِيمٍ وَتَصْلِيَةُ جَحِيمٍ. Again, the riwayah says, نُزُلٌ مِّنْ حَمِيمٍ. This Hamim is Barzakh. وَتَصْلِيَةُ جَحِيمٍ is in hereafter, after resurrection. Also, we can see that Quran refers to death as something similar to sleeping. It says, Allah يتوفى الأنفس حين موتها والتي لم تمت في منامها فيمسك التي قضى عليها الموت ويرسل الأخرى إلى أجل مسمى. Allah Ta'ala says that during death, Allah takes the life of person totally, takes the soul of a person totally. But during sleep, this is happening, but not in a total way, because it's in a way that goes back. But the soul for going back to the body, this will be until the time that a person gets resurrected. The question is this: if there is no barzakh, where does the soul go that Allah Ta'ala is comparing these two? Where is our soul going during dreams or during sleep? Similar verse to what was said about Nuh alayhi salam has been said about Salih alayhi salam and Shu'aib alayhi salam, that they talked to their people after they died. So, for example, about Salih alayhi salam says, فَأَخَذَتْهُمُ الرَّجْفَةُ فَأَصْبَحُوا فِي دَارِهِمْ جَاثِمِينَ. The punishment of Allah, the earthquake, the punishment came, and they became dead people in their houses. Then it says, فَتَوَلَّى عَنْهُمْ. Salih alayhi salam turned away from them, or turned towards them, and said, يَا قَوْمْ قَدْ أَبْلَغْتُكُمْ رِسَالَةَ رَبِّي. So he's talking to them while they just died. وَنَصَحْتُ لَكُمْ وَلَكِنْ لَا تُحِبُّونَ النَّاصِحِينَ. I told you what I was supposed to tell you. I delivered the message, and I gave you advice, but you don't like whoever gives you advice. You don't like the advisors. Another ayah of Quran says, قُلِ اعْمَلُوا. Do whatever you want to do. فَسَيَرَى اللَّهُ عَمَلَكُمْ وَرَسُولُهُ. So he says to everybody that whatever you do, your deeds are seen by Allah Ta'ala. Allah will see what you do, and the Prophet ﷺ will see what you do. وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ, even there are some mu'minun that they see what you do. وَسَتُرَدُّونَ إِلَىٰ عَالِمِ الْغَيْبِ وَالشَّهَادَةِ فَيُنَبِّئُكُم بِمَا كُنتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. This shows that even now, whatever we do, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam is seeing it. Our deeds are presented to him and to certain mu'mineen, certain believers, says Ayyamah alayhi salam, for example, and they are alive. Also, we send salam to them. So in the riwayat, there are lots of places that for example, the Prophet ﷺ is talking to the dead people, and in salah, in prayers, we send salam to the Prophet ﷺ. For example, after that, Rasul ﷺ went to the Baqi', Jannatul Baqi', and spoke to the dead people there, and he says, Assalamu alaikum دار قوم مؤمنين وإنا إن شاء الله بكم لاحقون. And also after the battle of Badr, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam spoke to the dead people of Badr, from Kuffar. And one of the Muslimin, one of the believers, asked Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, can they hear us? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ مَا أَنْتُمْ بِأَسْمَعَ لِمَا أَقُولُ مِنْهُمْ. You're not, swear by Allah that you're not more capable of hearing than them. They basically hear even better than you. لَكِنْ لَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ أَنْ يَجِيبُوا. They hear, but they cannot reply like the way that you may hear them. Also, in entering the barzakh of the Jahannam and Jannah, the heaven and hell of barzakh, there's riwayah that says, when you enter qabr, when you enter alam barzakh al-qabr, imma rawdatun min riyad al-jannah wa imma hufratun min hufar al-niran. And similar riwayat, similar to this, there are quite few. That says qabr or barzakh is either a type of garden from the gardens of heaven, or is a fire hole like the hellfire, from the hellfire. So if we look at the verse of Quran, we see that in some places there are even referred to people who are in barzakh and speaking to Allah. One of the things that it shows from these verses we can find out is the fact that even in barzakh there will be another death. So when it comes to the day of resurrection, before that, when the earth is going to be destroyed, people in barzakh will die as well. And that's another transfer from barzakh to the hereafter and for resurrection. Ayah of Quran says there are people that they say, قَالُوا رَبَّنَا أَمَتَّنَا اثْنَتَيْنِ وَأَحْيَيْتَنَا اثْنَتَيْنِ. You made us die and you made us come back to life, revived us twice. So dying twice. First, we are a type of creature that is basically nothing. There's no life in it. And then Allah gives us life. Kuntum amwatan fa'ahyakum. This first is coming to this dunya. Thumma yumitukum, which means that from here we go to barzakh. Thumma yuhyikum, and that's again coming back to life. Thumma ilayna turja'un. Then you come to us. You come to what Allah promised you. And also in the other ayah that we said, they ask, how come we died twice and we came back to life twice? They are in barzakh because they say they're not in barzakh, they are in qiyamah, because they say فَاعْتَرَفْنَا بِذُنُوبِنَا فَهَلْ إِلَى خُرُوجٍ مِّن سَبِيلٍ. So they are aware of this fact that they died twice and they came back to life twice, and then they're speaking to Allah Ta'ala. What happens in barzakh is that the true meaning of what we do comes out. And when person enters barzakh, starts seeing things that he couldn't see before or couldn't understand before. As we know, every action has some kind of truth behind it, what we call haqiqah. For example, Quran says, do not backbite each other. Would you like to eat the dead flesh of your mu'min brother? Which means that this is the true meaning of backbiting. And when we go to barzakh, we actually see that. We see the true meaning of what we may have done. Or for example, Quran says that these people that they eat, basically consume, they take what belongs to the orphans, they are eating fire in their tummy. Which means that the haqiqah, the truth about what they're eating is like fire. And this truth will come back to them in the hereafter. One of the famous ayatollahs called Ayatollah Sayyid Muhammad Husseini Tehrani. He said, he narrated in one of the books, there is a story that he's narrating himself. He's saying that I had a friend, this guy was a doctor, and this doctor used to go to Iraq and started basically during cold weather and winter. He went there and started treating people for free as a type of charity. He says that while I was there, he's talking to Ayatollah Husseini Tehrani and saying what he experienced. He said that I went to Kalwamain for a ziyarah, and he said while I was walking towards the shrine, I realized they brought a dead person. They were going to take the dead to the shrine for blessings, for tabarruk, and then to bring it back for burying the dead person. He says I started walking because it's good to walk and behind the dead corpse, and while they are taking them. And as you know, there are certain mustahabbat, for example, because our death is a slow death, is not exactly in one split of second. So it's mustahab when you're taking the person to bury, it's mustahab to put him down twice, and the third time you bury him. Anyway, so they were taking this dead person to the shrine, and this doctor says that I started seeing a very scary type of animal sitting on the body of this person. He said, I was so surprised, how come this animal is sitting on this dead body and nobody says anything? He said, I asked the person next to me, I said, what is that on the body of this dead person. He said, "Oh, this is a fabric." So basically, they covered the person with a fabric, piece of cloth. So he says, "It's a cloth," and they named that cloth. Doctor realized that they actually couldn't see what he could see, and he realized that this must be something related to this person's world in Barzakh. So he started actually having special vision that is for people, certain people may find that at some point in their lives. He says, I realized that this scary animal, when they wanted to enter the shrine, he came off and he stood at a corner, waited until they did a tawaf of the shrine for blessing. And when they came back to take the body back to the cemetery for burial, the animal came again and sat on this dead body. And he said later on, I knew that I heard that this person was actually a very bad person and he did lots of bad things. And I told her, explained that this was the type of eyes that you found, the vision that you found, that is not for everybody. When we go to the grave, there are certain deeds that they become like something that we can see them. The riwayah says that there are 6 faces in the grave of mu'min. The right side is prayers. The left side is khums and zakat. In front is fasting or patience, both of them has been mentioned. Behind is Hajj and Umrah. And next to this person's foot is the help that he did for others, the charity and helping others. And above his head, there will be another face that is very, very beautiful and full of light. And this one says that, Ana al-wilayatu li'ali Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, your grave is like a safe that contains your deeds. It means al-barzakh is somewhere that we have to deal with our deeds. It says, al-mautu ya'ti baghta, death comes suddenly. Wal-qabru sanduqul or sunduqul amal. There's something that in text has been referred to about the pressure of the grave. As we said, some people got confused about the pressure of the grave. They thought that means that the actual soil starts coming and it's physical thing. But what many of ulama believe is that that's not the case. We're not talking about this body. We're talking about the pressure that comes to the soul. Like the same way that we may suffer during our sleep, but actually our body is safe and sound in our bed. This pressure is for everybody, but for mu'min, it becomes very light and it's like nothing. They don't feel much. But for some mu'mineen, even if they are mu'min for certain reasons, they may still feel the pressure, even though they later on might be in heaven. And even if anybody dies and it doesn't get buried, like for example, mummies or somebody dies somewhere else, may have this pressure. If you think about it, you can actually see this sort of feeling in our souls, even if we are alive. For example, somebody's got claustrophobia, might feel tight in the chest and feels that there's a pressure on him, while there's actually physically there is no pressure. Of course, the pressure that causes the suffering has certain values. For the mu'min, the pressure would purify him and certain sins will get forgiven. But for the non-believer, that's not the case. And in Barzakh, there is another problem. The fact that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, Wallah, atakhawwafu alaykum fil barzakh. I have fear for you in Alam Barzakh. The reason for that is that there is no shafa'ah in Barzakh. In Barzakh, we live with two types of deeds, as we spoke before, in that simile. One is the muqaddam and the other one is mu'akhar. But there's still no shafa'ah. And shafa'ah is for qiyamah, after resurrection. We ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to save us from the difficulty of sakarat al-maut, the sadness, gham of qabr, the tightness of qabr, dhiq al-qabr, the darkness of qabr, dhulma, and from the wahshat al-qabr, that is very scary for many people. We ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to save us from that. In the Bani Hashim, at the time of Imam Ali alayhi salam, and after that, there was a person that was famous as Qamaru Bani Hashim, the moon of Bani Hashim. Because moon is beautiful and also is high in the sky. And Abbas ibn Ali alayhi salam was very beautiful, very handsome, and also was very tall. And this was a reason that he was always well known in the tribes. On the day of Ashura, Abu Fadl came to Imam Hussein alayhi salam asking for permission to go to war. Imam alayhi salam started crying, فَبَكَى الْحُسَيْنُ بُكَاءً شَدِيدًا. Imam alayhi salam started crying severely. O Abbas, أنت صاحب لوائي. You are the bearer of my flag. If you go, the whole army would fall apart. Abbas alayhi salam said, Oh my master, but these kids are thirsty. So he started catching the water bag to go and get water for the children. He said, I am sick and tired of these people. Oh, Abbas, the fact that he went through the army when he had two hands and no water in his hand, and he could get to the river, shows how brave and strong he was. And if he wasn't supposed to bring water, I assume that he would have killed so many people. And later on, people wouldn't see the fact that there were thousands and thousands in front of few hundred people. Abbas alayhi salam went and brought some water. He picked up some water. وذكر عطش الحسين وأهل بيته. Some people say that Abbas wanted to drink water and remembered the thirst of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his family. But no, that's not the case. He wanted to show people that I can drink this water, but I'm not going. I remember the thirst of Imam Hussein. I would not even think about drinking that water without my master drinking from it. This is the wilaya. This is how our religion is. Our religion is not about thirst or drinking water. It's about knowing who we are serving and who we are drinking or eating to serve. That's what he said, Wallah in qata'tum yamini inni uhami abadan an dini. Everything we have is for supporting our religion. Abbas fell. Imam alayhi salam came next to Abbas. وقف عند رأس أخيه. And Imam alayhi salam said, الآن انكسر ظهري. My back is broken, my support is gone. وقلت حيلتي. I have no options anymore. وشمت بي عدوي. Now the enemy is going to make fun and tease me. Oh, Zainab Salamullahi alayha found out about Abbas alayhi salam's death and shouted, Wa akhah, wa Abbasa, wa qillata nasira. Imam alayhi salam went and took Abbas and put Abbas alayhi salam's head on his lap, started talking to him, and Abbas started crying. Imam alayhi salam says, Ma yubkik ya Abal Fadl, what caused this crying of yours? Abbas alayhi salam said, in short time, after an hour or so, man yarfa'u ra'sah, who is going to hold your head on his lap from the soil. You are going to be left on the ground and alone. Ya madloom, Ya Hussein. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. اللهم عجل ظهور وليك والعافية والنصر واجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره وشيعته ومحبيه. اللهم انصر من نصره واخذل من خذله. اللهم وفقنا لما تحب وترضى. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.